Hello everyone and welcome back to the Common Sense Crypto channel. As with you always, this is Rich doing another video today on XRP. So I hope you're all having a wonderful day today wherever you are in this great world. We're going to talk about XRP. I'm going to start with this. The U.S. unemployment rate increased to 3.7%. How many of you honestly believe that's the true number? Because I think it's much higher. I think we're at a time right now where people are starting to give up, because you know what other number is very high in the United States? The bankruptcy rate. And it's because people are working 2 and 3 jobs just to make ends meet. I think people are giving up that second and third job, and they're getting rid of their debt through bankruptcy at the same time. So this is a number here, though, that I'm very concerned with. So 339,000 non-farm payroll jobs were created in the month of May. How many of you believe that number? Put it in the comments section down below. The reason I don't believe it is because I talk to people outside of crypto. I see all over Twitter all the time people saying, I just went to Indeed. I applied for a job I'm qualified for that pays more money. But they don't even get an interview. That's because I don't think those jobs even exist. A debt jubilee of biblical proportions is coming soon. What you need to know. So a debt jubilee acted as a societal pressure release valve when there were no other options. The practice spread in the ancient world and became codified in different civilizations. For example, the book of Leviticus recognizes debt jubilees as the end of a 49-year biblical cycle, 7 cycles of 7 years. I think this ancient practice will make a big comeback soon, as government, corporate, and personal debt have all reached unbearable levels today. And debt jubilees are happening right now. So the biggest wealth transfer in history. This is not it. So it's important to note that debt jubilees do not magically create new wealth. They simply redistribute it. Debt jubilees are government decrees that amount to a massive wealth transfer with big winners and losers. The PPP loans forgiveness during COVID hysteria was the prelude. President Biden's student loan forgiveness took it to the next level. And you know, it also goes beyond that. Look at mortgages. If somebody has bad credit, they get a better deal than somebody that has good credit. Everything seems to be backwards right now. That's because they're redistributing wealth, but that takes money, which also takes on more debt for this country. So as this continues to happen and they keep pushing this and appeasing certain people throughout the world, we are going to slip into hyperinflation. The US dollar is going to lose more value along the way. What's going to happen next is this current financial system, which they're racing to the bottom, will fall apart and a new system will rise. When that new system rises, that's when we're going to see the greatest transfer of wealth in all of our history. That's where me and you, the crypto holders, the XRP holders, become the new 1%. And it's slowly getting there, almost on a daily basis. So digital Esdr to enhance payment systems. This was from 4 years ago. Remember, everybody was talking about ESDRs and the IMF and the BIS. Well, electronic special drawing right equals an asset made up of a basket of currencies and its digital counter. XRP mentioned as a potential ESDR to be exchangeable with any national currency. Well, XRP is going to work that way. It's going to work as a bridge currency, but you should never want it to become an ESDR at all, because retail cannot hold an ESDR or an SDR. That's where the buyback idea came from. But I think now we're headed in a different direction. I'm going to talk more about that in this video. So at a time when we're still pushing ahead with this idea of debt jubilee and debt forgiveness, the BRICS is working on their plan as well. So while people are distracted by Joe Biden's falling, BRICS will discuss currency backed by gold. Take a listen.
Of the global economy. And so a lot of discussion is going to be had on how they can move forward in what they're calling a multipolar world. And as you mentioned earlier, there is potentially going to be discussions about a currency derived specifically for these BRICS nations. And especially when we think about the world as globally moving away from the dollar, we're seeing potentially discussions around whether or not BRICS can create a currency pegged to specific minerals, things like gold. And so that will be among the things that are discussed this week. But here in Cape Town, a number of foreign ministers, as you mentioned, the 5 from the BRICS nations, but then also a number of foreign ministers from nations from what they're calling the Friends of the BRICS. So that includes foreign minister from Argentina, from Indonesia, from Egypt, and from the UAE and Saudi. And so a lot of these other nations have been talking about whether or not it is time for them to be a part of it. And we'll see whether or not these 5 BRICS nations actually accepts them.
Those Friends of the BRICS are part of Operation Sandman. There are other countries that want to pull away from the US dollar. You know what's going to happen? They're going to send all those dollars back to the United States. That's going to cause hyperinflation to set in. Times are going to get worse before they get better. The digital gold currency bill specifies that Texas comptroller will establish a digital currency that is backed by gold and create a digital system to transact with it. Now, a lot of you probably heard about digital gold-backed currencies. Even the BRICS is working on one right now, other countries as well. But what you got to understand is XRP doesn't need to be backed by gold. It's going to move the value of gold. And we shouldn't really want it to be backed by gold anyway, because I think XRP is going to be more valuable than gold. Look at the XRP ledger. Look at the projects. Then look at tokenization. And that's going to be a major key in the future. So let's take a listen to Brad Garlinghouse talk about tokenization.
Absolutely, yeah.
I think the tokenization of various assets is underhyped. And so one of the examples I talked about on stage with the CNBC team was this idea around carbon credits. And so the carbon credit marketplaces have been challenged because of, frankly, fraudulent carbon credits and people trading what actually aren't carbon credit offsets. And the ability to have the traceability, the ability to have an open, visible to anyone trading is, I think, very important. Can really, I think, revolutionize how carbon credit marketplaces and the efficacy of carbon credit marketplaces. Ripple just announced last week our commitment to invest $100 million in that segment, and a few other announcements coming in that regard. But we're excited to use the XRP ledger for that purpose because of its scalability and low cost. And a few other announcements coming in that regard. But we're excited to use the XRP ledger for that purpose because it's
The reason Brad is going so big on tokenization is because he sees the money. But the BIS and the IMF, I think, let go of the whole idea of an Esdr in favor of tokenization in the future. They now see that as the future. And an Esdr hasn't even been talked about for quite a while now. Skyla Credit Union notification of tokenized customer accounts. IMF explaining bank deposits can become tokenized. Visa payment account tokenization. Do you see where this is headed? Because now that looks like it's going to be at the heart of the new financial system. The global financial system reset is around the corner, and nations worldwide are preparing to make the switch. Generational wealth is within reach if we pay attention and invest in the right technologies, building the infrastructure for this new system. XRP, XLM, QNT, these ISO coins. And when you talk about a new financial system, it's not just cross-border payments. It's not just CBDCs. There's going to be micropayments. There's going to be assets. There's going to be everything in the world all coming together because they want to tokenize everything around us in the future. The waters, the trees, the land, whatever it is of value. And that's why any of these cryptocurrencies that are ISO compliant can make you very rich in the future. Tokenization allows for the creation of a new financial system, one that is more democratic, more efficient, and more vast than anything we've ever seen. Regulation is crucial for the development of tokenization, and particularly if it is to attract an institutional audience. So even to attract institutional investors to get on board with crypto, come into the new digital age, tokenization is going to be a key to that as well. That's why I kept pointing it out in the last couple of videos I did, because I want to try to give you an idea of how big that actually is. But the greatest transfer of wealth in human history is not going to happen around them canceling debt for this group of people or that group of people. It's going to be when the new financial system rises from the ashes and XRP is skyrocketing to prices that nobody could see coming. And people that sell early are going to be full of regret in the future because they never understood what they held to begin with. I'm keep pointing it out in video after video. I'm going to do one video focused just on the XRP ledger alone because that is growing so fast and it's going to add so much value. Then we're going to look at borrowing against your crypto and Flare Finance, which now got rebranded. And we're going to look at lending options where you're going to be lending out your crypto in the future. You're going to become your own bank. Nobody ever wanted to believe that could be a thing. It was conspiracy theory even early on. But now here we are in 2023. This world looks a hell of a lot different than it did back in 2020 and 2019 and 2018 before COVID. The world today seems so backwards and upside down, and most people that have eyes open can see it. People that are still asleep, even if they're crypto investors, they need to look at the rest of the world because everything points in the same direction. And XRP is the key to everything in the future. With that said, I'm going to wrap up this video. I want to thank you all for watching. I appreciate all of you. I hope I didn't get out of direction on this video or make mistakes because I was trying to get my point across around tokenization and why ESDRs were they just disappeared all of a sudden, and why XRP doesn't need to be backed by gold or anything because it's going to have a real value, a true value, and it's going to be stable in the future at a high stable value. But with that said, I'll see you in the next one. Have a great night.